Hey, coming up on today's show, how to break free from others' expectations and be your true self. Don't be yourself for anybody else. Plus, a lot of great other topics coming up this morning on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. We got Johnny here, Marty here, and a whole gang showing up later today. Let's do it. Welcome to Mornings in the Lab where excuses.
When something negative comes up.
Building muscle with these blood flow.
Nobody is expecting John.
If the lady's saying that, you're doing.
Hey, guys, are super
Be entertained by fun over here.
How have I slept? Has my sleep been good? Is that
Good morning, nation. Good morning, business athlete nation. Good morning, LinkedIn nation. Good morning, world. Yes, it's a cold morning here in Winnipeg, Canada. It's minus 7,000 degrees Celsius. We're getting after it today. Rising. How to break free from others' expectations and be your true self. If you're tuning into the only morning show to get your ass out of bed, do it. Don't hit the snooze button. You hit that snooze button, you're 9 minutes behind. You want to get your ass up and be yourself. Beat those others' expectations of you. We're also going to have a big, we got a bunch of other things to talk about today. Bart and Scott joining us later on in the hour. We got Jory Janzen joining us for the protein break. Marty's here, Johnny's here, and a bunch of fun topics floating on the table here that I'm going to surprise the boys with. We're going to talk drones. We're going to talk pornography. We're going to talk about what I've learned from my previous relationship and how I've gotten better at as a man coming at it today on the morning show with Mornings in the Lab and Keith and friends. Let's do it, Jimmy. Let's bring up Johnny to the show. What's up, Johnny? Oh, yeah. Oh, is that the first tactic? You got to lick the cigar, right? Why do we lick the cigar, Johnny?
I'm just kind of getting it ready to where it feels good in my mouth, you know?
Is that how it works?
For me, you know, everybody's a little different how they go about it. You know, I like to have it a little bit. I don't like the dry, hard feeling in there. I want it to be a little softer.
So anybody tuning in right now, the dry, hard feeling going into your mouth. We're talking pornography later this morning on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends.
Yeah, and then when it gets wet, the flavor comes out.
That's it. Hey, in the world of smoking a doobie, which I like to do now and time again. What's up there, Joey Fontana? Good to see you here, brother. Yeah. So, what's up, Carlos? Good morning, Carlos. Carlos, you're on the only morning. Yeah, you're on the only morning show to help you get your ass out of bed. We are here to help you not hit the snooze button. Reach some big godashes. Johnny can't talk today. We're going to help you how to break free from other expectations and be your true self. I want to talk about the wet cigar, Johnny. I really do, because in the world of smoking doobies, which I tend to do every now and then, and I know that my buddy, I know Joey likes to consume a little bit of cannabis too. Good morning, Carlos. Good morning, Adam. Johnny, I find when you're smoking the doobie and you lick it, it gets all sewered back in the old Gen X days. So why doesn't a cigar get sewered when you lick it?
Well, I would assume, because I'm not a doobie smoker, you know, that the paper on one of those is pretty thin. You know, this is like multiple. You know, it's tobacco, thick, fairly thick, and multiple layers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can only speak to what I know, which is this.
Yeah. So I got to tell you, man, Nation, I have a confession. Oh, Johnny, full confession, man. I aspire for this idea of smoking a cigar like you, sitting back with a cup of coffee, having a big stogie, like the whole social aesthetic of cutting the end of it, licking it. But I got to tell you, brother, I've tried them in the past and they make me sick. So I've moved away from them. So I just stick with my doobies. But the appeal of the social aspect of it does intrigue me.
Well, think of it like training, right? If I just took you as a guy who's never trained before and I just beat the Christ out of you on a nasty leg workout, you probably wouldn't want to come back, right?
Yes,
but
yes.
But if I kind of just brought you in and showed you around and got you warm and loosened you up, had you a few lifts, and you got a taste of it, but it wasn't too big of a taste, that made you sick, you'd want to come back for more. So you probably had, if you had somebody helping you picking a cigar, they helped you improperly.
Okay, there you go. There you go. Yeah, because I used to, good morning, Blaze Space. Yes, I listen. I'm all about the cannabis. I love the connoisseurship of cannabis.
Let me put this in context. If this big bad boy right here, this is a Macanudo. This is not one of my normals.
There you go, Joey, a Macanudo.
And I not been smoking, daily for a while.
Yeah.
This would be borderline too much.
Oh,
but the fact that I've been smoking on the show almost every day,
yes.
Then it doesn't. I can pull out whatever cigar. This is what they call robust. This is like a heavy flavor to your mouth. Most people would want to spit after they take a pull off of it.
So Johnny, let's keep going, bro. This is good. I'm learning. So Nation, you're tuning in right now to the only morning show to get your ass out of bed and smoke cigars at 5 a.m. Pacific time. I invite you to subscribe to the channel, like the channel, tell your buddies. You found a couple dudes to hang out with, and we're looking for a female to join the crew here. Maybe she's going to be a cigar smoker as well. But Johnny, let's talk cigars. I know in the wine world, the cannabis world, the coffee world, there's certain things we look for, right? Body and aroma and flavor and texture and terpenes and so forth. In the cigar world, Jon Andersen, what are you looking for when you're choosing a cigar?
That's, I mean, for the most part, I guess my interest or my taste have just continued to evolve. So the stuff that I was looking for in the beginning, I was just kind of discovering, trying different stuff, and so then as I started to find, I really liked infused cigars, which according to like a hardcore cigar smoker, I would be a wimpy smoker, but I don't smoke from a manhood,
Okay.
So I guess it's kind of one of those things where I would assume that in, like you talk about cannabis being the same way, that as you get deeper into it, you start to have different preferences.
Yes.
So I guess the answer is my preferences are constantly changing. So it's hard to explain what is I look for. I'm always looking for something a little new, a little different. And, like perfect example, this one, when I first started, would have been too much, But I had friends, because my friends are like, fucking thank God you started smoking cigars, because now we actually have something we can buy you, for the fucking guy that's got everything. What do we get you for a present?
Yes.
Well, there we go. So they're buying me these cigars when I'm first starting.
Yeah.
And it was like, holy shit. Some of these things were like, it was just like fucking dirty sock in my mouth. You know what I mean? To where the ones that I started off with, a buddy of mine, I started smoking cigars, I'll shorten the story, but when I was in my bodybuilding career, I did too many contests back to back.
Okay.
And you get fucking pretty tweaked out to the point where it's like you're stuck in fast forward. Yeah. I couldn't stop. I was like, I was so tired, but I was stuck and wide open. My buddy's like, hey, he understands. He's an ex-major leaguer, so he gets that mode. He's like, listen, we're gonna train, and then we're gonna go to the cigar lounge, and we're gonna sit back, and we're gonna smoke some cigars. I got a couple cigars in my locker you're gonna like, and we'll just chill. And I hadn't sat in one spot and done, basically call it nothing, if you will. Yeah. In fucking, 6-7 months, and I was like, I'm digging this. And it was basically a really flavored infused cigar. It was really coffee flavored. That's that's kind of how I got started. Yeah. And then from there, I just kept experimenting, and you realize real quick that you get something like this too soon. It's like, whoa, this is moving a little faster. This current's a little fast for my pace right now.
And were you all head rushing and shit? Like, is your head all just buzzing? Like, I know when I've puffed some nicotine and consume some nicotine, especially quickly, it just goes right to my head. It just goes.
Well, you definitely don't want to inhale this, for Christ's sake. What you're getting is going through your lips and your mouth from having it in the end of your mouth. Figure like when people chew tobacco, they put tobacco in their cheek or their lip. Same concept. So is there some nicotine coming in through my mouth? Absolutely. But I try not to have the smoke in my lungs. That's obviously dangerous shit. More dangerous than nicotine in my mouth.
I got to admit, I forgot you don't inhale cigar smoke. So maybe that's
that's the problem, brother. You were inhaling that thing. Of course you were sick.
Maybe that's why I was all fucking sick, because I was it's inhaling this shit. It's fascinating though. This is a great conversation. We're all quick to jump into cigarettes. We're all quick to jump into cigars. We're all quick to crush the alcohol and the wine. And then you throw the other vice on the table, cannabis, and America's like, oh my God, we're wrecking the world because there's cannabis out there. It's so fucking bizarre to me because, of course, I'm here in Canada and we're all like, oh yeah, cannabis, cigars, wine, nicotine, whatever. Do what you want to do. But I find America, man, it's just this whole cannabis. The political aspect of cannabis in the United States is fucking crazy to me, Johnny.
Well, it's money, brother.
Well, that's yes.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Well, it's a fucking industry that's bearing, huge amounts of money. So anytime you got that involved, I mean, there's going to be some sort of I guess you'd say the intentions become motivated, outside of what the true element of what it could be is.
Well, pal, thank you for reminding me of that actually, because at the end of the day, you're right. There's not a big CPG in the US who owns any big cannabis companies yet. Right. So as we've spoken in the past, we know who owns the big tobacco companies. And until big money gets its arms around the cannabis industry, I suspect it's going to be what it is and going to continue to be what it is. So, hey, Johnny, I found an interesting article yesterday. This is a funny one. I got to laugh. So I'm going to have some fun with this one because I know we're both Gen Xers. So we grew up as a Gen Xer. I found an article where Gen Xers gave 5 rules to swear by for longevity. And brother, I got to tell you, man, there was some nuggets.
How old were these people?
Well, it's the Gen Xers that were the doctors. So these Gen X doctors.
These are adults. These are adult Gen X. Okay. Because if you ask me what was important at 15 versus 35, you're going to get 2 very different answers.
Yeah. So Johnny, but what I find funny about this is because what I'm going to share is nothing ridiculously revealing here, but it's still, I find it humorous because so these Gen X doctors that are aged between 44 and 59, you and I are both obviously 52 here. So doctors who are our age are giving advice to folks in our demographic, Johnny, on how they can live longer. And man, I'm going to tell you, man, if you're hearing what I'm saying right now, we're just re-insinuating what we're talking about here on the show every single day. Like boys, men, women, you got to go for a walk. Just get up, get moving every single day. So if you're a Gen Xer and you got a Gen Xer doctor telling you got to go for a walk today, get up and go for a walk. Like actually go for a walk. There's no reason, Johnny, that somebody can't go for a walk today.
And you know what a walk does? There's 2 things. A, it gets blood flow. And B, it gets you some fresh air. And I suppose C, depending on where you are, gets you some vitamin D from the sun. Exactly. These are 3 simple elements. That is 3 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah. And going on a regular walk boosts mental health, prevents anxiety, depression, and walking can help improve overall hormone balance, dopamine release, and assists with healthy sleep patterns. So, gentlemen, go for a walk today. Joe Fontana, I know you're tuning in today, brother. Go for a walk and text me when you're done. Go for a walk. Just do it.
Well, and even just like for example, yesterday, I found myself just focused on some computer work, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, Jesus Christ, I haven't been outside much. So I had some work to do on my phone. Or I could have done it on my computer, but I chose to do it on my phone. Went outside, sat in the sun, basically took my shirt off, soaked up some vitamin D, felt fucking great.
Yes, exactly. Right.
Just sat by the pool and just did my thing. And it was like, it was a trip. I could feel something changing.
Well, Johnny Segue. Good morning, Marty. What's up, brother? Good to see you, pal.
What's up, man? What's going on, fam?
What's up, brother?
Marty was out chasing drones in Maryland this morning, so Marty's a little bit late here this morning. He was out.
Good. Well, come on, man. You gotta get this accent, this Canadian accent out of the way. With Merlin, come on, man.
Merlin, yeah.
Come on, Keith, get it together, man.
Hey,
shit, I'm not even from Merlin, and I know how to say Merlin.
Thank you, Johnny.
Marty, we have a smorgasbord of topics going on today. Of course, we're talking about how to be your true self and not live somebody else's life.
Well, hold on. First off, we figured out that Keith had a really rough go with fucking cigars because the silly little son of a bitch was inhaling the cigar smoke.
Oh, God.
Dude, you know better than that, right, brother? You know better than that, correct?
I know better than
Come
that.
on, man. Come on.
Man.
Hey, Johnny, brother, you say yourself, man, you eat eggs, you do the shit that others don't do. Hey, your little buddy here from the 51st state, Canada up here.
But here's the difference. I know what I'm choosing to do. I understand the outcome. I don't just do it and oh shit, I accidentally did what others won't. Usually that's the problem when you're doing it like that.
Oh, that's it. Hey, Marty, we're talking. We got some Gen X doctors, Marty, who I found an article last night. Some Gen X doctors that are the age of myself and Johnny, who have some advice for humans to live longer today. So it's somewhat humorous and funny, but full of truth because there's no rocket science within it. But before we go there, I was doing a little bit of reading, of course, this morning over my coffee about this whole drone situation. And boys, so again, I don't want to spill misinformation. I just want to continue to spread the innuendo that's out across the internet. Apparently, they might be searching for dirty bombs with these drones. So there's an expert, a drone expert out of Kansas City there, who actually works in the military, who said who's got a video floating on X right now that says, "Hey, listen, I'm no expert in what they're doing. I'm only an expert in flying and selling and building drones. The only reason you're flying a drone at night is if you're trying to find something." So there's speculation that a nuclear warhead or a dirty bomb has came back from Ukraine over to America, and they're trying to find it at one of the ports or in transit somewhere. So they're flying drones around to look for a heat signal. There you go.
It's pretty cool, man.
It is kind of cool. It is kind of cool, isn't it, Marty?
Never knew that, man.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. It is kind of cool. It is kind of cool. So Marty was not out chasing drones this morning. He was out taking care of his clients. Do you have any client fun this morning, Marty?
I always have fun with my clients.
I know
it's always an episode, man. Just
yeah,
you're yelling at them, hearing their stories, and I love it, man. I love it.
I love it. Hey, so we were just talking, Marty, about ways to live longer. It's from our Gen X doctors. Get up and go for a walk, or get up and get your ass and get going here. Because I also found another article, and Marty, you and I talked about this a while back. But a recent study, boys. Here's a good one. This is an important one. Men, pay attention to what I'm going to say next. A recent study published in the Journal of American Medical Association has shed new light on the relationship between sedentary behavior, in other words, sitting around too long, and the risk of developing dementia. Yeah. The research which
Can I interject quickly?
Yeah.
That's what my fit tip is about.
Yes, there you go.
I'm not even being funny. Like, that's literally what I was going to talk about today. But go ahead.
So, boys, no, this is great, Mark. This is great because this research has indicated that individuals aged over 60 who engage in prolonged sedentary behaviors, such as sitting for more than 10 hours a day, face a significantly higher risk of dementia compared to their more active counterparts.
Wow.
But I think let's put dementia in a bucket with a whole bunch of other shit that's gonna fucking start falling apart. Your brain's falling apart, your body's falling apart, your dick's falling apart, the whole fucking thing.
Yeah.
You don't use it, you don't use it, you lose it.
Well, it's interesting. Like, get this though, the link between sedentary behavior was non-linear, so that at a lower amount of sitting time, there was no significant increase in risk. However, this is what's interesting, gentlemen. I'm telling you right now, get up and get moving. The risk of dementia begins to rise significantly after approximately 10 hours of sedentary behavior. Get this, guys. Once you start hitting 12 hours, 63% increase in dementia if you're starting to sit for longer than 10 hours a day. And if you're sitting for 15 hours a day, you're up to 3.21 times higher risk of getting dementia than somebody who does not sit.
Brother, you go back, you follow our timeline back far enough. There was no fucking place where we wanted to be, sit or lay for 15 fucking hours.
Yeah.
We were sleeping it up trying to fucking find something to eat,
Yes. Yeah. Well, yeah, exactly. All right, Jimmy, I lost track of time. I forgot it was accountability check-in. So we're going to get to that. We're going to come back and keep the conversation going. Let's do it. Marty, Johnny's going to go for a break. We're going to get this going here. And we're going to come back and we're going to get this started right now. All right. Listen, accountability. Accountability is a love language. It's mine. Can't you tell? Yeah. Most people just think it's discipline. No, baby, it's not. It's not just discipline. It's discipline plus care. You hold people accountable because you want them to win, not to control or nag. It's just saying, I believe in you. I believe in you too much to let you play small. But here's the catch. Accountability is not a one-sided conversation. Accountability is not a one-sided street. Accountability is not you to them to you. It's a two-way street. You can't push others towards their goals while letting yourself off the hook. Because listen, we know this, nation. Discipline's the muscle. Care is the heartbeat. Without both, that accountability you're striving for, it falls flat. Yep, it falls flat. So I invite you, make some time today. Look at the promises you've made to yourself, but more importantly, look at the promises you've made to others. What's one promise that you've let hit slide? Think about it. Name it. Fix it. Beat it. Win it. Listen, you got a few days left in this year. If you started the year and said, hey, I'm going to get this done by the end of the year and you haven't done it yet, you got time to get it done because January is around the corner. I don't know what you're waiting for January, but we know a lot of us like to have the January resolution idea. So remember, accountability is not just about you. It's about them too. It's you and them. It's a two-way street. Be accountable. Get after it. And hey, listen, if you're sitting around, get up. Get off your ass. Don't hit the snooze button. Get moving. That's your accountability check-in on Mornings in Alive with Keith and Friends. All right, let's keep it rolling here. Marty, this Gen X doctor was doing some doing some reading about, and they're also talking about, and this is what I love too, right? Because everybody's looking for the magic pill, and I know sometimes we're being somewhat repetitive, but it's true. Sleeping at least 7 hours a night. And now I know that some do 6, some do 7, some do 8, some do 5, but the reality is, Marty, we need to get our sleep to move forward and deal and get all the other crap out of the way. How's your sleep these days, brother?
Man, I wish I could get 7.
I know, right?
Yeah, man. I'm getting about 5.
Yeah. Do you find that works? And do you? I know you don't wear an Apple Watch. How do you measure your sleep, Marty? Do you just basically analog, right? You know what you have.
Yeah. And I pretty much, man. I'm gonna be honest. You know, I'll do 7, 8. I usually get that on the weekends.
Yeah.
But dog, 5. It's like my sweet spot. I don't even know how to explain it, but I get up fired up, energy with 5.
Yes.
With 7, 8, I'm a little like, it takes me a little while to get going. So
I can relate.
I don't know why that is.
I can relate to that. I absolutely can relate to that. You know, and we also know a lack of sleep has been linked to high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, cognitive decline, and obesity. So, gentlemen, get your sleep in. And again, I'm not telling you guys anything new. What our goal with this show is just to create awareness for things that you're thinking about and maybe just need that extra edge or a bump because something Marty said, I said, Johnny said. I know Johnny relates to this because Johnny, has had some family tragedy as of late and was not getting any sleep. But Johnny said he got some great sleep yesterday or the day before. Right? You caught up, didn't you, Johnny?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to say catch up on sleep, but to a certain extent you are. You don't just catch up in a day. But I was so kind of ragged from not sleeping, even though I felt like I was, back. I was still not back. I was just back in kind of the league of where I normally operate, maybe at the lower end of that league. But when you get pretty fucking tattered from not sleeping to the point where you're not yourself.
Yes.
And you have a really hard time. I start to have a really hard time managing just the shit the way I live my life. I live at a pretty fast pace. Well, if I'm too tattered, I have a hard time managing that pace.
Well, you know what happens, Johnny and Marty? The reality is, good morning, Rick. I see you there. So true that rest and recovery is a solid part of training. You're absolutely right, Ricky. The reality is I make bad decisions when I'm tired. We all do. We make bad decisions with food, make bad decisions. It's just, and they perpetuate, don't they, Marty, Johnny? You wake up in the morning and you find yourself making that bad decision, John, first thing in the day, and it just perpetuates itself, doesn't it?
Yeah, very important for me, no matter what, a good or a bad day, if I start off with a decision that I know is not correct, it's really difficult for me not to carry that dumb pattern throughout the day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're more likely to make that decision, when you're tired, because you're going to go for what's convenient.
Yes.
Yeah,
you're gonna go to Five Guys up the street when you get your lunch break at work because you didn't bring your, you probably scrambling the night before, you didn't pack your lunch, you didn't bring your meal prep or whatever, you didn't prepare. So
yes.
Well, and here's the concept. A lot of times people are tired. They go, I'm going to get an extra 30 minutes of sleep. I tend to try to go the other way. I'm going to wake up 10 minutes early because I know I'm going to be moving slow. I need a few extra minutes. You take some minutes away from me, now I'm really fucking discombobulated.
Yeah, I hear you. Another one from Gen Xers and my Gen Xers out there listening in right now. We know this one's an important one, but Gen X, we grew up on this. And gentlemen, ladies, I'm asking you to create major awareness of what I'm going to say next because it's so easy to do the opposite. find ways to limit those processed foods and prioritize fresh foods and try to find ways to get rid of the sugar as you go through your day today. You're going to have choices to add sugar to everything or have sugar in everything. Try to find ways to reduce that sugar because it's not helping you. And man, there's just more and more research coming out weekly. It seems like, guys, about ultra processed foods and about the effects on sugar on our body. It's nonstop, frankly, these days. And we just got to keep the message going, folks, that you got to get that processed foods out. Marty.
A little off topic, but, the fact you bring up sugar, I don't know if you saw what I posted yesterday. The guy was, in the hospital bed,
yes,
oxygen tank, eating birthday cake.
Yeah.
And, someone had the nerve to come in my comments and say, well, he has an eating disorder. And my thing is like, how much sugar has this guy had in the past year? We're not even talking about as a kid, the past decade. How much sugar has this guy had? And then compare that to how many macronutrients has this guy consumed. You know what I mean? So, I'm glad all this stuff is coming out about sugar because, in this country, probably in Canada as well, we're just not honest about our sugar intake.
No, not at all.
Well, here's the thing, you have a family member in fucking alcohol rehab. Do you fucking bring him a 6-pack to visit? No.
Exactly.
Fuck, man. Jesus Christ. I mean, he didn't get out of that fucking hospital bed and go to the store and buy that cake by himself.
I never thought about it that way, but is that funny, man?
Jesus Christ, yeah. Go. Your uncle's, he's recovering from alcoholism. Let's go fucking visit him. Get that bottle of tequila. Let's go. Come on, man. It's the same fucking thing.
It's like, he has an alcohol disorder, so let's feed him a little bit of alcohol.
Yeah. Let's have lunch in the fucking bar. No, don't have lunch in a bar. Don't go near a fucking bar.
I also was reading here recently. I'll find the study and get it up here later today or this week. But recent research is also talking about that. We say limit sugar intake, or having a little bit of sugar here and there is not a bad thing. The research is showing though that sugary drinks are worse than ever. So I know, Johnny, you and I like our zero sodas, but that's I gotta be honest with you guys. I gotta rant for a quick second here. How the fuck people still drink sugar drinks in 2024 is beyond me. Like how you can sit down knowing what you know when you drink a can of Coke that is actually just liquid sugar. I just can't fucking get over it. Like
add that to the list of a whole bunch of other dumb shit that people do when they know better.
But the drinking part just that one really gets me, man, because it is so obvious. It's like, I'm just gonna go and drink a glass of sugar and get fat and wonder why I'm dying right now. And then go do it again tomorrow, and then go do it again tomorrow, and over and over and over.
But the guy that's doing fucking heroin or an alcohol, he does the same thing. Sugar. Listen, the addictive centers in the brain don't recognize the difference between heroin or sugar. They just know that there's a highly addictive substance entering the bloodstream. That's all it knows.
Well, no, Johnny, and you're right, because I listen. I've talked about my battles with addiction and food addiction, and so I'm right there with you, man. I guess you know what, I'm being hypocritical because I'm quick to make.
Well, but I agree. What I want to say though is what's silly is they don't actually deem themselves addicted to sugar. That's the fucking problem. So you got a heroin addict that says, I'm fucking hooked, I need help. That's the first step. Well, all these motherfuckers out there with the sugar problems, and like you're talking about with soda, they have yet to have that come to Jesus conversation with themselves. Like, I can't stop this.
Well, what gets me too, and Lauren brings it up as well, Lauren and I talk about it often, is I just can't wrap my head around drinking your calories. So Starbucks or any of those places where you go and buy yourself a rich drink, Marty, and it's got you're dropping $8, $10, $12, and it's got what 600-700 calories, and there's actually there's no food in it, Marty, Johnny, no food.
Yo, I go into Starbucks, my order's quick. Let me get a black coffee.
Yeah.
That's it. You hear the people in front of me. Yeah, let me get a ice pumpkin spice latte with the sugar, the cream, and it's like your order is so long. What do you think you're putting in your body? So I say that to say people value pleasure over their health. People would rather get something that tastes good than get something that's actually benefiting their body.
Yeah, it's very true. Very true.
Crazy.
Especially, they know how to speak the language. They're up to speed. When I'm there, I'm like, hey, I want the biggest iced coffee you got with some sugar-free vanilla.
Yeah.
I'm not. What is it? Vente and fucking Trinda and all this shit.
Yeah,
Listen,
I say give
I
me
don't
the
speak.
medium,
I don't
extra
speak the
large.
language. Give me a big motherfucker and get me out of here.
And Nation, if you're getting a sense that we're making fun of you, we are. Because we know we can make better choices. Yes, we're all about grace and offering people second chances and starting again. And we're all about no judgment. We're a no judgment zone, unless you're drinking sugar. And then we're gonna judge the fuck out of you. Don't drink
We
sugar.
are, yeah. Well, you know what, man? In 2025, we got to bring some type of shame back. Now we don't have
Yes.
to be too harsh with it, but we need a little bit of shame.
We can
A
do
little bit of
positive
healthy
shaming
shame.
around sugar. Well, because
Well, I think it's don't have to use the word shame. We just have to use the word fucking honest.
yes.
Yeah, you're right.
You don't have to shame anybody. You just got to be fucking honest. They'll shame themselves.
Oh, Rick Clody's shaming you, brother. Get off that sugar. We're continuing our conversation.
Sugar shame. I love
Sugar
it.
shame,
Sugar
yeah.
shame.
We're gonna get to the See Marty Fit Tip in about 2 minutes there, Marty. We're gonna wrap up this chat here on what Gen Xers are telling us about how to age gracefully with all these fucking nuggets of information. Learn how to cope with stress. Yep, learn how to cope with stress. Chronic stress is known to negatively impact longevity by contributing to inflammation, cardiovascular issues, and other health problems. The reality is, find ways to manage your stress. Period. Simple. Right? Get rid of sugar. You're gonna eliminate your stress. Get some sleeping. You're gonna eliminate your stress. Go for a walk. You're gonna eliminate stress. Hang out with Rick Clody. You're gonna eliminate your stress. Those little things are all gonna add up to eliminating stress, and you're gonna live longer. Right?
Yep.
And the last one, guys, is try not to multitask too much. Right? And I'm guilty of that. But the reality is, when you multitask, you drive your stress up. You might drive your blood pressure up, and as you age, it's difficult to perhaps not multitask. So find ways to eliminate all that, and you're going to live longer. There's your conversational topics from Gen Xers this morning on the show. Yeah,
And a millennial. Yeah.
And a millennial. Yeah, exactly. All right, well, listen, let's do this. Let's get the fit tip
Come
going,
on, man.
See Marty Fit. Then we're going to keep
Come
the
on,
show
man.
going here. We got something coming up next, which is we're going to dig into. We are going to dig into rising above, how to break free from others' expectations and be your true self. Coming up after the Marty Fit Tip. Get after it, Marty.
Let's get it, man. All right. We got the fitness tip for today, and I'm about to fire y'all up real quick. All right. So we started talking about the sedentary lifestyle. Why is this a problem? A lot of people don't understand that. So what happens when you're sitting on your ass too long and you're not getting up and moving? All right. So the first thing, sitting down for more than 8 hours a day is going to increase your risk of death by 40%, right? You got a 125% higher risk of heart disease, gain weight, slower metabolism, mental health struggles, higher rates of depression and anxiety, along with long-term risks, right? Type 2 diabetes, weaker muscles, so you're more likely to get injured, especially if you fall, right? And this is going to cut off years of your life expectancy. What's the solution to this? You got to move more. You got to sit less, right? So what can we do? We can make some small changes. We can park the car far away. We could take the steps. We can walk during your phone calls. For some of y'all meetings, a lot of y'all work virtually now, work from home, right? You can move every 25 minutes, get up and move your body, right? You can use a standing desk. There are just so many things you can do, just outside of exercise. We know we need to exercise, but there are small things you can do to make sure that you're moving your body and not just sitting for 8, 10, 12 hours a day, right? Try to walk 10,000 steps a day. That's going to reduce your heart disease risk by 50%. And listen, they recommend 150 minutes of exercise per week. You can get more than that. But at the bare minimum, get 150 minutes in, all right? So you're better off walking than not doing anything at all. You're better off doing something small than not doing anything at all. Sedentary life is killing us. So do what you can to prevent it. That's the fitness tip for today.
Fuck Marty. 150 minutes a week. I've heard that before, and I rolled my eyes, man. I fucking rolled my eyes.
That ain't shit.
What the hell is that, Marty? 150 minutes a week.
That's not shit. Like, come on, man. You could do that in your sleep.
God.
What is 150 minutes?
So the recommendation, Johnny, there's some recent movement recommendations that research has put out here, I guess, across our governments here in North America, that they're suggesting that humans should move at least at least 150 minutes a week, Johnny.
Move. You said just move, like any movement?
Yes.
Any movement, like exercise and
That's the
non-exercise,
problem.
any movement.
That's why I'm so determined to make this show a success and this platform a success, because it's just ridiculous. Like, if you can't get moving for at least 30 minutes a day, like, honest to God, Marty, and that's 7 days a week, that's 210 minutes. Right? Like, Ricky's doing the math here too, which is 150, isn't even 30 for 6 days. And I know that. So I wear my Apple Watch, and my goal is to do 30 a day. And it's. Then here's the thing: when I do my cardiovascular work, right? If I go for a walk, or go for a run, or go on the bike, like, what the hell's 30 minutes? I just do 45 now, because you know what, boys? Those extra 15 minutes they don't wreck the rest of my day. But the benefits of those extra 15 are so much more. And then I get my lift in. Right. So I just don't know how. And, and I love my friend Adam House, who comes on and says, we were talking yesterday how you can't, and when you're doing a startup, you can't put those 1 or 2 hours, into yourself to start your day. I don't fully agree with that. Because I think you have to. I think you have to in order to succeed where you want to succeed. And I know we didn't have time to talk about that yesterday, but I think that's where you stand out, over above everybody else, is putting in that extra time, Marty.
Well, I think you got to do what works for you, but you got to get it in. And I think for someone like Adam, and this isn't anything against Adam.
Oh no.
But I think somebody like Adam, it probably would benefit him to do it before his day starts.
And I know he does, and I know he does. And I guess what I'm getting at is that sometimes, so one would say, but as a startup, I don't have an hour and a half a day to get my training in, because I got to go to work.
Yeah,
I believe a little differently. I believe I'll just get up an hour earlier.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. I that's what I think. I think you should just do it before your day starts, before the shit hits the fan. Yeah, and as Lawrence, Johnny agrees. Yeah, and as Lawrence says, everyone has a different starting point, which is great. But like I said, I think that there's this 150 minutes a week, I think is fallacy. I think it's goofy. It's trash.
Right? You go back to Lauren. I rarely use a shopping cart, Marty, even at Costco. So when you go to the grocery store, it's movement. Like, fucking walk and carry shit and park further away. But anyways,
if you're buying the shit that you're buying for me, you're not carrying that to the front.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Pushing that car will be like pushing a sled, so you're good either way.
That's good.
Sled work is good, man. Sled work is good. I got a sled in my garage. I love doing sled work, man. I love doing sled work. All right, listen, I got a topic: how to break free from others' expectations and be your true self. I thought this was a great topic for today. We're going to cut it up and create some post-video content on this one, because Johnny and Marty, when I found this topic, I thought about you guys immediately. And in many ways myself, but I thought this is a great conversation for the three of us, because we are ourselves, our own unapologetic selves. So let's get into it. How to be yourself without being influenced by somebody else. Johnny, when I saw this first one, I thought about you. Marty, get ready for the soundbite, Marty, or get ready to replay this. But Marty, Johnny, recognize your uniqueness. Marty, when you hear Johnny say that, what do you hear Marty? What do you hear Johnny say? I was a dumb fat son of a bitch, and
that's what made him Jon Andersen, though.
Yes. So somewhere in John's journey, he recognized that this was unique, and I'm going to just pour the fucking gas onto it, and I don't care what anybody else says. Talk about that, Johnny.
Well, and I was kind of lucky too, because in the way that my early life unfolded, I was so used to being told that that I couldn't and all that shit. That's the stuff that when you start to do some extraordinary, then you're going to hear a lot of that.
Yes.
In many cases, for people, it's the first time they're hearing that shit is when they're actually trying to do something great. Well, fuck, I had already heard that enough. Those words were dead to my ears, and so. When I'm being told I'm fucking nuts for trying to do what I'm doing, I've heard that so many times before. You're going to have to come up with something new to catch my ear, motherfucker. So that whole concept of, just be able to shine on what other people say, that was a gift given to me because of what I heard so much when I was younger.
Well, and then Marty, when you were sitting at the desk at the gym there in your journey of transition and you're feeling like a loser, I know you're going, fuck, he keeps bringing the story up, but I love it, because to me that's what turning point for you was. You recognize your uniqueness. You're like, okay, I'm not a fucking loser. I'm doing this.
Yeah, definitely, man. You kind of just got to tap into it, man, and embrace it. You know, I
Yes.
understand that you're not going to be in this spot for your whole life.
It's a moment, as Jory would say.
It's a moment.
Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, there's a concept that if people can grab a hold of and actually hold on to it is when shit's not going right. This is basically coping or dealing with whatever you want to call it with the shit that's not going right is giving you a skill set.
Yes.
That you're going to use to go where you want to go. If everything was really, really easy all the time, we would never get better.
Very, very true. Very,
So
very true.
the rougher the road, the more skills you develop, the better you get, the more you can achieve. It's a positive spiral, but people see it as a negative one.
Here's a good one. How to break free from others' expectations and be your true self is identifying and aligning with your values. Asking yourself, what do I enjoy? Not what Marty enjoys, not what Johnny enjoys, not what somebody over on LinkedIn or Instagram enjoys and is creating FOMO for me because I'm all fucking freaking out because I should be liking that. No. What do I enjoy? That I think, gentlemen, is a big challenge for a lot of humans. We spend a lot of time comparing ourselves to others, and then as a result, we never live up to being ourselves. Marty,
you know what comes to mind is and I love sports. You know, I talk about it all the time. But football, I'm not sitting around watching football every Sunday, and every now and then I get an idiot that'll be like, "You ain't watching football today," and I'm like, "Bro, like, it's Sunday. I'm trying to get ready for Monday, and I'm putting this energy into myself and." Getting ready for my week and getting things prepared. So, I'm not sitting around watching football Sunday. I went to a football game a couple weeks ago. Every now and then I'll enjoy, but it's just not my thing. So, and I'm cool with that. I've had multiple people try to act like I'm less of a man because I'm not watching football every Sunday. It's insane.
Well, it's you don't have your manhood is not based upon your football watching.
Exactly.
And I'm kind of on the same boat in regards of football for me has always been. It's more of a social thing. You're going to find me laying on the couch doing that shit by myself. But if I got a bunch of buddies that are hanging out and I haven't seen them, it's a great way to socialize. And I enjoy the game, but I don't enjoy it enough to do it by myself.
There you go. Johnny, here's one that I know you love to lean into and you talk about it all the time. We talk about it all this time is this idea of letting go of limiting beliefs. Many of us internalize our beliefs thinking about what somebody else is believing we are instead of what we think we can do or what we can achieve. Yet we are so worried about what somebody else is thinking about us, it often limits our own beliefs. Jon Andersen.
First off, you got to get past what other people think as some sort of if that's going to change your direction, you got to get that one fixed right away. Because when it comes down to it, your limiting beliefs, once you shuck what everybody else thinks about you, that's not a problem. You got a big enough fucking problem to deal with the voice inside your own head with those limiting beliefs, let alone the motherfuckers all around you.
Yes.
So when people are around you, that's the easiest one to deal with. You just basically shun those people, push them away, don't listen, whatever you want to do. It's that voice inside your head that's the tough one to manage with limiting beliefs.
Absolutely.
Well, and Johnny, I got to tell you, man, I don't think I was Marty's age. No, I'm sorry, rephrase it. When I was Marty's age, I was still struggling with my own limiting beliefs, right? Like it wasn't.
It's a problem we never get rid of. Are you kidding me? I mean, when I was really tired.
Yeah.
Oh my Lord, man! Now that voice was beating the Christ out of me.
Yes.
I was like, I need to get back. I need to get back where I can defend myself because right now this motherfucker's just straight up fucking jailhouse sodomizing me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I mean, come on. It's 5:45 in the morning there, man.
Just sit there being fucking sodomized with.
Just straight up, no lubrication, just fucking coming at me like a freight train, man.
That's
and
crazy.
I couldn't squirm hard enough to get away. So I was like, you know what, I need to get myself back into fighting shape so I can keep, I'll duke it out with you all fucking day, but I'm not getting bent over tomorrow.
But this is a good one though, guys, because it feeds back to what we were talking about in the earlier part of the show about getting sleep. When I'm tired and when I'm not eating correctly, my limiting beliefs start showing up pretty fast in my brain.
Oh, but they're there. I mean, it's our it's funny because this is my lifestyle tip we're kind of touching on right now, because when it comes down to it, that shit is always there. That's our default programming.
Yes.
That you can't just you can't uproot that it's always there. What you got to do is you got to manage that programming.
Yes. Well, you know what's great is that Carter just read the David Goggins book, and we went out for dinner last week, and he was grinning from ear to ear. And he
can't hurt me.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know, so Carter's 17, right? As you met him, Marty. So he reads the book, and he's got his mantra on his fucking watch now, and his limiting beliefs are all out the window. He's like, I can fucking do anything. I'm like, yeah, you can, brother. Because it's one thing for Keith to say it, for Dad to say it, but it goes in one ear out the other, right? Because it's our kid, right? But when somebody you'd never met before who runs on 2 fucking broken legs and everything, David Goggins says it, Carter's like, yeah, man, I can fucking do everything in the world, right? So, which I find it is absolutely different. So, all right, hey, listen, we're here hanging out with Keith, Marty, Jon Andersen here. We're reflecting on what makes you different and embracing it as you age and as you become your own human being. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna break for the Marty. We're gonna break for the lifestyle tip. We're gonna come back with Jory Janzen, and we're then gonna continue our conversation in Reloaded about how you can reflect on what makes you different to embracing your inner strength on Mornings in the Lab. But let's do this with Johnny. Let's do it, Johnny. Let's get after it.
All right, here we go. As human beings, we stress out way too much, especially with the holidays here. We tend to stress out even more. So here's a drill that's going to help you manage that stress, which a lot of times that little voice in your head is creating a whole lot of shit that's not even real. Take a piece of paper, literally put a line down the middle. On the left side, write down all the shit that stressed you out over the course of the last 30 days. On the right side, write the shit that actually came true, meaning actually happened. And you're going to quickly see that about 75% of that list that stresses you out never comes to reality. It only lives in your mind. So here's the tip. Don't suffer before it's necessary. Once something actually happens, suffer, handle it, do what you got to do. But when that shit just lives in your head, don't suffer about things that only live in your head, because that is not going to make you happy. Surely not going to give you a great set of holidays. But more importantly, when you learn to manage the shit that rolls around inside your head, you are going to be a much happier person, a more productive person, and you are going to get what you want a whole lot faster. Rock and roll.
It kills you. Man, speculation just eats your brain, eh, Johnny? You start telling stories, and those stories start adding up, and next thing you know, you're going down a dark path, and then the next day happens, and the story you were telling yourself 24 hours earlier never happened. It's just
only lives in your mind.
Only lives in your mind. Exactly. All right, we got Jory Janzen joining us for the protein break. We're going to have a great conversation about sugar here in a couple moments, but I get some comments here. Rick Clody coming in calling it authenticity, and I like this. So Jory, we've been talking about how to break free from others' expectations and be your true self. We find many of us are so worried about what others are thinking. On the show here today, we're really trying to get people thinking about their own stuff. Good morning, MC Lyrical. I see you there in the comments. I invite you to subscribe to this channel, like it, share it with your friends. The only morning show to get your ass out of bed. And Rick talks about one way to get rid of a limiting belief is to replace it with a liberating truth. Oh, I like that. Yeah, so get rid of the limiting belief and replace it with a liberating truth. That's clarity. That's from Rick Clody. And most of my problems are right in between my own two ears. That itty bitty shitty committee. Oh, I like that. Right, the itty bitty shitty committee gets into the ears and tells us what we don't want to talk about, and then Will Wright gets into mindset is everything. I accept failures and keep going. I'll never surrender. That's the mindset you need to have. If you do that, you'll be successful in life. Very, very true. But we got Jory Janzen joining us here this morning. Jory, it's cold here this morning in Winnipeg.
It's cold. Yeah. Good day to not have to go too far.
It's very, very true. So, Jory, we were talking about sugar here today on the show, and I think I got my topic correctly with you. We're talking sugar here today and aging. That's what we're going today, right? Is that what I told you?
That's where we're going today.
I got a bunch of moving parts in my back end here, and I was looking at my nose thinking, no, this is what we're talking about today. And it's timely because sugar has been a big part of our conversation this morning. It's so easily accessible, so easy to get. We drink so much sugar, we eat so much sugar, but it's killing our aging. Jory, let's talk about it this morning.
It's so funny that we know that high amounts of sugar leads to aging, but there is an acronym and it's called AGES, and it's for advanced glycation end products. And basically so it's AGE-S.
Yeah.
And it's science showing how sugars will attach to proteins and fats in the body, and it sticks and it causes a clump. And what happens is that we don't have these enzymes to help with processing these sugars that are sticking there, and it leads to causing harm in the body. So it's not even just a joke or just a saying, but there is something that's called AGES, and it does mean high sugar content, leading to the aging process, from wrinkles to affecting our eye, our vision, our kidneys. So highly processed sugars. I'm not talking like having an apple or some berries.
I'm talking about having a Coke.
Right?
Yeah.
You know what's crazy?
Yeah, Marty.
Real quick, not to go on a rant. I'm not going to go on a rant. But
do it.
What kills me is people will be scared to eat fruit. Like they'll be scared to eat an apple or something, and then go and be drinking, a Coke or drinking alcohol. It's just crazy to me. They think that the sugar from the fruit is going to make them fat. So I just had to throw that in there. That's insane.
When clients come to me often, they're tired, they're feeling like they just have lost a step. And first thing I do is remove processed foods and sugars. And literally, sometimes they feel better right away. But by that 60-day mark, they fucking look better. They are just the bags under their eyes start tightening up. They're acting differently. They're more vivacious. But just on a physical level, physically, they look younger. It's like reverse aging, taking the sugar out. It starts to. I believe that. You get someone that's really fucked up, you can bring 10 years back on his life pretty quickly.
Yeah.
In terms of the way he looks.
Hey, Jory, I'm going to throw a curveball into the conversation, but yet still keep it on topic. Do you, as a licensed nutritionist, diet practitioner, a food expert, do you think we as society need to be talking about sugar from the perspective of addiction instead of food and nutrients, and really what you teach or Marty teaches or Johnny teaches? And do we need to really address it from the perspective of it's no different than an alcohol or a nicotine or any addictive substance that we all consume, and we got to talk about it? Are we talking about it correctly, Jory? I guess that's what I'm trying to ask you.
Yeah, I think it's more complex than that, because not everyone that drinks alcohol becomes an alcoholic, right? So I think we have to put perspective. It becomes habit. It can become a reliance. And just like some people who smoke actually never become smokers. I know when I met my husband back in the day, he was a DJ and he would, smoke at the time. I thought it was always gross, but anyway, I would smoke but it was only in that moment. It was social. He was never addicted. Yes. So I think we have to look at the individual, and mostly, and it's what is your go-to source for stress relief?
Yes.
What are your habits that you're implementing every day? I think for some people, perhaps they have an addictive behavior.
Yes.
And whatever that it seems to be the outlet for that addictive behavior, the brain remembers and wants to return to that for that moment of peace. And it is only a moment, right? So I think we have to look at it on an individual basis, not that, the world is addicted to sugar. I think we become, if we want to label that in that sense, I think we're addicted to quick fixes.
Right.
I think that's what we want. It's what we've become accustomed to. But sugar will be more harmful long-term health for some than others, because there is the genetic factor as well. So if I look at someone's family history and they have Alzheimer's, then that's something I would look at, that you're at higher risk from higher levels of sugar, leading to cognitive dysfunction, which could lead to Alzheimer's. So I look at family history, what seems to go on, but it's a lot of times it's just related to the habits and the unknowing of what these habits are doing to us.
I guess I asked the question because I'm only suspecting that for the amount of clients that Johnny sees, Marty sees, and you see, that this is probably the most common red thread, right? Is that you can offer solutions and opportunities for every client you have, but at the end of the day, if they silently struggle with a sugar addiction, I'm just going to call it what it is. They may not be able to overcome anything that you three are putting in front of them. And then I wonder, Jory, just continue to look at you. I wonder then if somebody needs a new set of tools to find some vulnerability within themselves to admit what really is the problem, Jory.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think that eating, like having sugar accessible to us, is the problem. There's another deep rooted,
Yes.
like, why are you returning to, whether it's alcohol, to
Right.
drugs, caffeine,
Whole another topic.
right?
Yes.
There's a deep root of something. Because I love sweets. I love sugar.
Well, so do I.
If I had to choose
me
between
and Johnny do
having
too.
a glass of wine or whatever,
Yes.
and cheesecake, I'm gonna choose cheesecake. Like, that's my thing. I love sweets. Alcohol, anything else, I'm whatever. But that's my thing. But I don't have to rely on it, and I'm not going to rely on it if I have other tools in place, right? And I know that when I first started hanging out with you guys, the big topic was that accountability partner, someone who's going to be honest with
100%.
you how it is. And I think that's if you feel like it is an addiction, and I'm not going to diagnose addiction, that's not my,
I get you.
right. Then, where do you need to go for your accountability? And I think that's the big thing. And then what's there? If it's a problem for you, how do you remove that? So I can easily get bored or emotional. I'm an emotional being, and I'll look through the fridge, nothing there. I'll look through the cupboard. And,
all of us do. We're all that way, right? We get into a state, and next thing you know, we're walking towards something, and we're making crazy decisions. And
I
most
look
decisions
at it as, what do you need to nourish? Do you need to nourish with food, with hydration, with sleep, with being social? Like, what do you need to nourish with? And that's where you need to dig deeper. And working with a team is really helpful. So maybe it is a dietitian, maybe it's a psychologist, maybe it is your personal trainer. Maybe it's a team support. I love working in sport because we have an integrated support team that works together, because
yes,
it's not just nutrition, it's many parts. So I think it's, who's on your team, and some people don't have a team yet. And I think explore what that might be to help you. But I don't think that we can get rid of sugar. I think it's just like we're not going to get rid of every corner store that's full of sugar or all of the fast food restaurants. But what we can do is create habits of what we need to do. One of my clients said, well, you know what? I think what I'm going to do is what I need to nourish myself with is some downtime before I get home. And it doesn't mean he has an unhappy home. It just means he needs that time to kind of think for himself. So he goes, I know that there's this long route the way home, and there's nothing distracting, that I can just kind of safely drive home and just have some time for me. So instead of, going down stressful routes and getting home and being frustrated with not the family, frustrated because he didn't have downtime, the traffic was horrible, whatever. So it's creating those opportunities to nourish yourself with what do you really need versus just, because I'm wants oriented. In my WEI profile, I'm a very wants and feelings oriented person. So I'm going to want something and go to action too soon before being a thoughts oriented. Think about it first. And I'm very glasses half full, but then I'm missing the risk, right? Oh, I can have this today. But if I miss the risk of what's happening tomorrow, then I'm setting myself up for failure, not success. So it's really understanding who you are and being emotionally intelligent with who you are so you can set up what you need.
And then on that level too, I think people tend to not recognize where's their gratification. Are they focused on the delayed gratification, or are they focused on the gratification right in this moment? Because if you're constantly focused on this moment, generally speaking, that's not going to lead you where you want to go. Delaying some gratification is a powerful tool. And if you're just as a person, or where am I getting my gratification? Is it in this exact moment when something hits me as an impulse, or am I paying, you know what? I'm going to delay this gratification to have a different type of gratification, whether it's later today, tomorrow, next week, whatever it is. It's just a concept that you got to start to become one with.
Yeah. Jory, you made the comment of you're a wants, and then you act on your wants. I would tell you that's been me for a good chunk of my life. It's been the last few years where I've been able to insert a pause in the middle of that want and then create awareness and then act. Because I know in the past I was a want and then do. I've really worked hard on moving my thought process from a wanting, creating awareness on what's the right action and then acting. And I'll tell you, I do things differently because I just don't all of a sudden respond to a want as quickly as I used to. You follow me? Right. So, and it's
creating that space, right? I think it's Mel
Yeah.
Robbins that does the,
yes.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so gentlemen, you know what I love about Jory when you come on our show, Jory, is I like how you keep things very real and not rigid, not like it's not like, because I'm suspecting the way you live your life is like many of us do, right? You have all this knowledge, yet you don't, and I mean this with a great compliment, you don't live in a box where it's like, okay, well, I can't. So what am I trying to say? To some of us who would think that you're a nutrition expert, you must eat like this perfect thing all the time, and you live this remotely perfect.
Nothing has to be perfect.
Exactly, but that's what I love because Jory brings reality to the table. She's like, okay, well, this, but then this. Yeah, I like my sweets. I like my sugars. I'm not getting rid of sugar, but I got to find a way to create some awareness around it. So I like that, Jory, because you come in here and into these conversations, and it's not a rigid box. It's giving folks things to think about, creating awareness, because I believe it's how you live your life. You don't live your life like a hypocrite.
I've been there. Even when I knew better. I was trained about body image, self-esteem,
Yes.
and there's a slippery slope, and all of you will understand this. There's a slippery slope between dedication and dysfunction.
Yeah. Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And being dedicated in the health and wellness world, there's expectations on all of us, or we put those expectations on us. And I've been there where I thought, you know what, I want to train with my athletes because I'm not good at one sport, but I work in high performance sport. I was blessed to be put in that spot.
Yes.
And so for me, I thought I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna eat well. I'm gonna check my boxes.
Yes.
My plans. I was working out every time I could walk to and from work, all of that. And one day I was I used to have to dress up for the office, and so I was getting dressed, and literally my dress pants fell off me, and I sat on my bed and I cried. I'm like, what the heck? What am I doing? That's not who I decided to be.
Yep.
Right? But it was a place where, but you know what? I was running faster. I was lifting more weight. And so I thought, this is what I'm supposed to be. And, going through that, it wasn't where I was supposed to be, having family and clients tell me things are changing. My relationship with my husband was changing. I wasn't present.
Yeah.
It got in the way. So I've been there, and I was not a kid. I was probably like 30 years old.
Yeah.
Right. So we can all fall into it. It's definitely, there's no shame. It's what can you learn from that? Because I thought I accidentally became a dietitian. I fell into the world of sport. And so that's what I do. It's my platform, but the message is so much bigger. And you guys all know that too. What you do for that financial piece, it's just your platform for reaching the world in a different way. And that's exactly how I work. So I've been there, and that dedication became dysfunction, and I still work on it, and I pick it up very easily on people that I engage with, whether it's a client or a friend, or I can pick it up really quickly, but I can also be empathic with it. And it is a journey for sure.
Well, and considering
a different perspective.
Considering we're talking today about rising above and how to break free from others' expectations, your story is timely because you were living a life of what somebody else thought the performance dietitian, the food expert should be. And you woke up one day and your pants are falling off going, wait a minute, I'm living their life, not my own life.
Trading dysfunctions actually to a certain extent in the right individual can actually be helpful, because if you're training a dysfunction, like for me, I traded food for working out.
Yeah. And
then all of a sudden now I have to kind of unlearn some behaviors, but I'm unlearning productive behaviors, not unproductive behaviors. So, for somebody thinking, man, if I can, don't think that trading is a bad thing. As long as you're trading up, you want to make sure that addiction is not, continually bringing you down. An addictive behavior can be a really powerful thing when you learn to manage it
and put it in the right direction. So, all right, Jory Janzen joining us for the protein break, talking sugar and aging. Jory's going to get after it and stay warm here in Manitoba today. Jory, thanks for hanging out today. I'm going to shoot you a text a little later.
All right, sounds good. All right.
Awesome.
All right.
Thank you, Jory.
Awesome. See you, Jory. I know Marty's got to rock and roll. Marty's got to head on back to the gymmer.
You got to rock and roll, man.
Got to
Have a good loop, brother.
Have a good loop, brother.
Man.
We'll see you tomorrow. Okay.
Be back in here tomorrow. Yep. I'll see
Awesome.
y'all.
I love it, buddy. All right, Marty's out of here, and myself and Johnny are keeping going. Johnny's going to do a little break.
Yes,
And then
sir.
We're going to get back and wrap up our discussion on how to break free from others' expectations, be your true self. If we have some time, we're going to get into a conversation maybe around pornography. I'm thinking, what? There's an argument to be made that maybe it's time to talk about pornography, is what scholars are saying. And no, listen, we're not saying that it's time to go and push porn all over the world. And it's not all about, saying I'm not saying porn is good, as Brigham Young University social scientist Brian Willoughby says. But what he is saying is that maybe it's time that we in society should talk about it. All you got to do is open up your phone and click a button and you can see anything that you want to see. What are our kids seeing? Are we talking about it with our kids? Maybe it's time to talk about pornography. So that's a topic that if we don't have time to talk about it today, I'm eager to have that discussion with all of you over on the LinkedIn platform, over on YouTube, on the only morning show to get your ass to bed, Mornings Alive with Keith and friends. You got myself, Jon Andersen. See Marty Fitch is headed off to the gym here this morning. I see you guys all in the comments. Good morning, Rick Clody. Good morning, Lawrence. What's going on there, baby? I see Lauren's comment from the earlier chat was, I love this one, which was in training our children's taste buds from the time they're babies. Yes. Jimmy, I grew up on the Kit Kat. Love you, Mom. Mom threw the old Kit Kat in my mouth as I was 6 months old, and I went from Kit Kat to Reese's Peanut Butter Bar, the chocolate. Yeah, good luck introducing the broccoli to old Uncle Keith back when he was little. So if you're feeding your kids today, maybe you want to make different choices and teaching those food buds, those taste buds, how to be a little more active with the good food instead of the bad foods. All right, we got Johnny coming back. We're going to keep the conversation going. We're reflecting on what makes you different and embracing as your true strength. We've got Barton Scott joining us here in about 10 minutes or so for the morning focus. Barton joined me live in the lab a few months ago. We're going to catch up with Barton and see where it's going. Johnny, I don't know if you heard my tease, though, but I want to get the conversation going later this week or next. But, there's a social scientist from Brigham University that's saying, Johnny, that maybe it's time for society to talk about pornography. Porn is so easily accessible, but yet we're not talking about it with the kids. We're not talking about, all that goes around that. And I don't want to spend much time talking about it right now. We're going to get into it, but it's an interesting topic, Johnny, which is, the role of porn in society, how accessible it is, AI porn, and are we talking about with our children, or what are children doing about it, right? So I know when I grew up, just like you did, it was, long gone are the days, Johnny, where there was the Playboy magazine over there with maybe the naked picture of the woman. Or there was
I was going to say that was porn for me, man. It was somebody in the neighborhood, snagged a hustler or a Playboy, and there was this basically a little stash spot in the woods where everybody could go take a look at it. That's what porn was, and before that it was the fucking Sears catalog, the women's underwear section.
Dude, are we the same human? I know. I know, right?
And there was only so much damage that could be done by, but now I think the problem is that kids get access to all this stuff and they get the wrong idea of what sex is. And it kind of skews their, it plants the wrong seed in their minds.
Yes. Now, and listen, nation, I'm not here to say Keith and Johnny are not here saying, go have a happy porn diet. No, I'm simply saying perhaps it's time to have a conversation about it. And so I'm going to put that on the table for our future shows here. Rick Clody, I'd love to hear your point of view on this as well. And maybe we'll do a panel on this because I think it's a topic that is worth having. But the topic we're talking about today, Johnny, is how to break free from others' expectations and be your true self, and waking up and being yourself. And Jory shared some of her experiences. But Johnny, we left off our last part with Marty here on letting go of limiting beliefs. Let's continue the conversation around setting boundaries. I got to tell you, man, it took me a long time in life what boundaries were.
Yeah, boundaries are powerful, brother.
Holy fuck,
So
Johnny.
powerful. I mean,
I didn't
when I set some boundaries for myself pretty early on.
Did you?
Know?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, meaning, and it was all about lifting weights because
Yes.
I was so focused on what I was doing. Quickly, my parents, friends, family, you name it, even girlfriends realize, okay, I'm not going to ask him to make that sacrifice because he won't do it. And it wasn't like I was, it was productive behavior patterns. And so it was something that, it was easy for me to put my foot down. It wasn't like I was, saying, I'm going to go, drink as a 17-year-old. I was doing something productive. So when you start to realize the power of those boundaries, and those boundaries can be set to kind of give you the space you need to do what you want to do for you. And I think that's when you find your purpose and that's what you're supposed to be doing, it's time to start laying down those boundaries, because as soon as the people around you see that you're actually committed, they will accept your boundaries.
Yeah. Oh, very, very true. Very true. I always looked at boundaries as a bad thing, Johnny, as I was growing up. And I got to be honest with you, man, it was not until probably going through divorce where I started learning about boundaries with myself and just relationships and just in life in general. Because we think of boundaries, typical Johnny, as something negative. When in reality, I would like to think of boundaries as the opposite, which is boundaries create an opportunity, right? Because they do. Because if you put a boundary in place, to me, the net result of that is an opportunity for something pretty spectacular and exciting. So for you, it's like, okay, I'm putting boundaries. So for example, for me, my boundary around my non-negotiables in the morning, I got to get my shit done. There's a boundary on that. But that boundary enables me to have an opportunity to live longer, to be more productive, to do all those other things. But man, without boundaries, you just kind of fucking wander around aimlessly. Boundaries in relationships, boundaries with your own self, boundaries are important.
Well, and one of the toughest ones in my life, one of the hardest ones to uphold, because it conflicts with so much shit, is bedtime.
Yes.
Because, I go to bed I've been going to bed at 8:00 most of my life, except for when I was wrestling, my schedule was totally different.
Yeah.
But, the thing about it is, there's certain situations where I will make sure with my kids coming home, I will totally stretch that boundary, because that's something that's, I'll take a longer nap. I'll do what I got to do. But in general, if I'm just going about my way and it's not holidays or this, that, and the other, people around me understand that, okay, we're not getting a reservation for dinner at 8:30.
Right.
Because somebody's not showing up for that.
Yes.
Of course, what I'll do is I say, can we make it at 6:30?
Yes.
And I have no problem being a little late for my bedtime. But
yes,
what I'm getting at is, if I didn't stick to my guns on that, nobody would respect it.
100%. But again, that's what sets you or others that are trying to achieve greatness over somebody else who doesn't think it's as important, right? Which is no, I got to get to bed, because if I don't get to bed, this is the net result of that, right? And we both know 10 people, 9.9 of them aren't making that decision you're making, right? So the next one, Johnny, is finding your tribe, right? I know the word tribe's overused, but I don't care. The reality is that if you want to be your own human and not be worrying about what others are, surround yourself with humans that you want to be like. Like, look at this morning show, Johnny. Like, we all do not fall too far from the apple tree. And then what's also happening is the folks like Rick Clody and Adam Peters and Jack Dugan and my lovely, lovely wife, Lauren, and Jory, because we're all the same. We're all perpetuating the same message to try to encourage others to join our tribe, so that they can be their own self as well. Johnny, talk about the power of finding your own tribe so you can be your own self.
Yeah, I think when it comes down to it, you'll attract them.
Yes.
And so, like perfect example, when you've said a few times, we're looking for a female.
Yeah.
Right. Well, my opinion is that, that female, if she's going to join the show, needs to have the parts of her life in place to allow her to be part of the tribe. Not any female can show up and say, oh yeah, I want to do it. Okay. Yeah. Well, how long have you been operating at a level that separates you from everyone else? Because anybody can come do this for a few months.
Yeah.
But who can do this for fucking decades.
It's funny,
And
bro.
so what I'm getting at is you attract your tribe. The question is it basically someone that's pretending or not is what you got to figure out.
Oh, I love that, man. I love that because I put a little ad up yesterday on LinkedIn. I got a massive response. It was a fun post looking for a female.
Well, bro, that's literally what was funny because that's why I said I wanted to have a conversation with you because of course, you're the chief. I'm an Indian, but this Indian's vote is saying, look, if you're going to bring someone else on the show, they better have already proven the fact that they can do this. Because
no, we're on the same page. We're gonna. I think it'd be fun. I don't want to use the word audition because it sounds all fucking creepy and casting couch shit. But no, I want to bring some females on to hang out with us, and we're gonna see how it goes because you know what's gonna happen, Johnny. Over time, the cream will rise to the top. And we're going to know quickly which one's going to hang out, be good, going to play off, who's going to be the 1% that's not going to do the shit that somebody else hasn't done, right? And I got to tell you, man, I've had a few come knock on my door, and we're going to play it out and see what happens. We'll have some fun.
I think it's more like hiring a high-level executive. You don't just say, "Oh yeah, you applied for the job. You look like you might be able to do it." No, show me that you've done this for the last decade at a successful level. Then 100%. I'll consider you to have a trial.
Yes. Yeah. No, we're drinking the same Kool-Aid, man. And it's
okay,
fun.
good. Because I was going to be like, we're going to start rotating females through to find, someone that can. That's definitely I guess we're like you and I, brother. We're battle tested.
Yes. Oh, believe me, we don't want a wannabe. Mm-hmm. We want a has achieved. So I mean with one lady, Johnny, her name is Jen Drummond. What's shaking, Jen? If you're tuning in right now, dude, she's like a fucking world record mountain climber. She's done crazy shit. She's done crazier shit than you and I've done, I think. And someone that's done things like that, they understand. Yes.
That, if it's just I hate to use the word average or normal person.
No,
but an average normal person hasn't found that thing that will allow them to operate at this level for any length of time.
Well, and Johnny, because it goes back to what we're talking about right now. We want somebody to join the team that believes in their own mirror, not with somebody else thinking about them, right? Because again, you look at yourself, myself, Marty, Richie, Flinner, like we're all and Flynn's not going anywhere either, guys. Like Flynn's around, she has other obligations, and Flynn will be weaving in and out. But you take all of us independently, and we all are very strong individuals that come together cohesively. And we're looking for that same person that is once like you said that will find us. John,
I think our rule of thumb on on additions to the show, at least if they're getting screen time, is. Do you have the past to prove to us that you can actually do this for any length of time?
Yeah, no, we're on the same page, brother. And I want to have some fun with this. This is going to be fun doing it here, right? So we got Rick says one way to break free of others' opinions of me, as Rick was saying, was the realization that their opinions say more about themselves than about me. And I like that.
Oh. That is so true, brother.
Yeah,
so true. Normally, when someone's fucking talking shit, they're not upset with you. They're upset with what they're not doing.
Well, they're looking in the mirror and unhappy with their own life.
Yeah, you've exposed the fact that they're not doing what they want to be doing, or they should be doing, or any of the above.
Yes. Yeah. Exactly. And then Rick comes in with the porn issue. He talks about relates to the immediate gratification issue. It can damage relationships because it's a quick fix without investment of work into relationship. And you know what, Rick, and you're bang on. And that's why I want to have the conversation. Maybe we'll get some experts on here because you open up the magazine, you pull the old willy-nilly, you get it done, you're done. You're like, wait a minute, that's not how reality is. Right. And maybe sex with your partner tonight is just touching and being caressing and not having intercourse. Like sex is very well defined. But yet when it comes to porn, it's like, okay, you got to insert it, you got to get it off and next. So I'm with you, Rick. There's certainly ways to have that conversation. And he also says boundaries are about respecting your own values regardless of others. I love that. And then Rick also says your vibe will attract your tribe. True story, man. And that's the thing, Johnny, with me and the show here. And I know is that I've been so focused on just putting out good quality content and a good quality show daily People are finding us. People are knocking. Oh, fuck, you guys are doing. Yeah, we're still here. Holy smokes. Right. So just keep your head down, doing all the work behind the scenes. And to your point, people will find us along the way. Johnny, practice self-love and acceptance. That is another key on identifying who you are instead of having somebody make that identification for you. And then another one, Johnny, we talk about, which is detaching from external validation. Learning the art of letting go of the need of approval from others. That's a hard thing for a lot of people. Many of us are waiting for affirmation from somebody else.
Well, and a lot of times, I was that way.
Me too.
I mean, I guess my gauge of success was what other people were seeing and other people were saying. Now, granted, in my case, it was almost necessary because I still saw who I was 5 years ago, 10 years ago.
Yes.
So but then once I actually got to the point where I had achieved some great shit, I was like, okay, it doesn't matter what anybody else says anymore, because I've taken the actions and I've created the proof in my mind that I am this. So then at that point, it was quite easy for me to start letting go of what other people were saying or thinking or whatever.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And then the final one we're talking about here is taking an action towards your true self. Once you've identified your ideal self, take some deliberate steps. Right. So, I know that sounds so, absolute. Once you've identified, now there's going to be a process. I know I reflect on my journey as I was going through my 30s, Johnny, into my 40s, and just through my journey in life, which was, okay, I got some habits I'm changing. I need to make this change. And then started to take action towards it. Right. I talk about the rubber band I've used in my time to get my mindset straight. I've talked about learning how to go from wants to needs to taking a pause. Right. But I'm telling you, man, I know you can relate to this too. The moment you recognize who your true self is, it's very magical, isn't it, Johnny? When you truly don't care about what others are thinking. I know it's related to age, but it is such a wonderful feeling.
Yeah. I mean, funny enough, I mean, for me, I guess you'd say when I grew up, as my older brothers were kind of like they're kind of like the all-Americans, so to speak, especially in my eyes,
Yes.
And they were, kicking butt in everything they did. And they kind of went about their lives inside the guidelines of what, especially like what our mother would want or expect. And then here I come and I went fucking a totally different direction. She didn't understand. She understands now. But there was a period where, I was a young adult when I finally realized that, okay, I've done enough and I've created enough guidelines and boundaries and I've done my thing and I've committed to it long enough that now, I've got the support of my family. Even though they were supporting me much, much sooner than that, I was carrying that shit around with me for a while because it was like I was comparing myself to my brothers and what they were doing versus what I was doing. So sometimes it's the people that are closest to you that you actually have to realize they may be supporting you before you realize it.
Well, and I will say, I'll offer something a little controversial, Johnny, from my life and my point of view. I don't know if I received the respect or support that I was so desiring to have until I did what I did with ICUC. And that makes me sad.
Oh, brother, I totally get it, because if you're going down a path that nobody understands until you actually make it work, especially your parents, your parents just want you to be stable.
Yes.
Your parents want you to be, granted, a lot of them were influenced by the Depression, like our grandparents were. So all they taught was, look, you just need to get a stable job and put food on the table. That's all they wanted for their kids because they didn't want their kids fucking starving.
Yeah.
And now we've a few generations come down the pipe. The kids of today now are more focused on what's going to make them happy, which is really fucking great because our generation was about go fucking make money, sacrifice your happiness. It doesn't matter. And thank God I wasn't drinking that Kool-Aid.
Yeah, I hear you. All right, Johnny's got to rock and roll, brother. What a great show today, man. You and I carried a lot of it here today. Great conversation, great learnings. Thoroughly enjoyed it, man. Very much enjoyed it. Just a quick 30 seconds before you go.
Yeah.
How are you? How's the family? How's your brother doing?
You know, it's now that things are in motion. You know,
Yes.
a lot of times when once you actually start taking action, it starts to get better, if you will. It's that initial shell shock. Oh my God, kind of sitting in the chair.
Yes.
You know, the taking action starts to make things feel a little better. I mean, it's part of the healing process.
Good. All right, pal. Will you take care of yourself? Lots of love to you, brother. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow morning, Thursday mornings in the lab. Get the leap going in less than 24 hours from now, man. We just do it again.
Let's
The
go,
only
baby.
ability show to get everybody rolling. Have a great one. Johnny Anderson's going to get out of here, and I'm going to continue with the community corner. Go to Creator Spotlight.
Have a good loop, brother.
All right, brother. You too, man.
You got it. See ya.
All right, Johnny's out of here, and we are going to keep the show going here. I like this song. I love this too. So now Johnny's gone. Can I make a confession to you guys, nation? Yeah, I don't mind the solo shit too. So I used to do this when I did Live in the Lab. It was just me and the camera, and talking to people coming into the show. And then I learned this from somebody in the old AM radio world. They said, Keith, when you're doing this solo thing, you got to envision you're talking to one human. So I do. It's a skill set. I look at my camera right in front of me there, and I talk to you. Right now, I'm talking to Rick Clody. I know Bill is talking to you right now. I am Ricky. I'm talking to you. Yeah, I'm talking to you too, Jimmy. I'm talking to my beautiful love, Lauren, too. I love you, baby. Love you so much. All right. It is the Community Corner. It's the segment of the show, one of my favorite segments of the show, except for the starter. I love the start of that show. Oh, fuck the energy. I can be so tired. It's funny. I can be so tired. I can be exhausted. I come down here to the studio, put the old headset on, put the old glasses on behind the microphone, turn the lights on, and that opening ring just jacks me up. So, all right, Jimmy, let's rock and roll, man. Let's get this going here. Let's do the Community Corner segment, Creator Spotlight. We got somebody here who's inspiring men. Yeah, that's our kind of guy, Jimmy. He's inspiring men to be great husbands. So, before we do this, producer Jimmy actually sends me a note. He's like, Keith. I'm like, yeah? Because I'm doing some babysitting. Because my wife is out doing a few things with the kids. I'm like, Jimmy, you said your wife. He's like, yeah. I go, buddy, that's called parenting. He sends me a LOL. I'm like, dude, let's listen, boys. If we're taking care of our kids when the wife is busy, no, it's not babysitting. It's actually parenting. So let's change the terminology. Let's respect our partner and all the work that she's doing, recognizing that when she's doing something else, we are parenting. So, Jimmy, we're parenting, brother. We're not babysitting. All right. So our creator today for Creator Spotlight is somebody who is inspiring men to be great husbands, fathers, and leaders. He's a national director at Impact Players. While he is not joining us on the show right now, I'm inviting you for a future appearance. He is located in Somerville, South Carolina, over in the United States of America. Going to be our future country one day here from Canada, I'm thinking. He's all about inspiring men, fathers, and leaders by equipping them to thrive in the relationships that matters most. He is all about the National Director of Impact Players. He gets the great joy of working with men of all ages and backgrounds to experience breakthroughs in their faith, family, and career. This guy's got over 30 years of leadership experience in the church and nonprofit realm. He's learned to learn how to speak, Bilous. He's learned how to hone his skills in leadership, writing, motivational speaking, and ministry. And he's served as a youth pastor, church planter, lead pastor, nonprofit executive director, national director. His greatest calling and source of identity. I love this because we're talking about identity today. His greatest calling and source of his identity is found through his relationship with God through Jesus Christ. So today, Jimmy, Walter, we're going to roll the LinkedIn feed here. We're not going to run the gamma right now as we figure this out. Today, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends wants to take a second to celebrate. Ready, Jimmy? Let's do it. Let's get the old drum roll, please. Warren Maynard. Yes, Warren. We are celebrating you here today on Mornings in the Lab, the Creator Spotlight. It's this part of the show where we take the big old Mornings in the Lab light, we wind it up, make it all big and shiny. We find a human doing great work on the LinkedIn platform. We say, hey, we want to shine a light on that guy. We want to bring attention to him. We want to tell the world all about Warren Maynard and his awesome LinkedIn banner. buddy, you got to put a picture up there. I got a picture for you. You can use my picture if you want. All joking aside, Warren, let's check out his profile together. So when I look at Warren and what I like about it, and what jumped out at me was this post right here. Is 49 old? Asking for a friend. Yeah. 40 is the old age of youth. 50, the youth of old age. Listen, I'm telling you guys, 40 is not old. It's not young. It's right there in the middle. But I love his comment here, which is 40 is the old age of youth. 50 is the old age. No matter how old you are, you're not as young as you used to be. Whether you're still climbing the hill with a 50-pound pack or careening down in a wheelchair, the reality is that time and age will one day work against our bodies. So what do we need to do? We need to get up, get moving, and get our ass in gear. And that's very much a philosophy that Warren Maynard subscribes to on his profile. So Warren, I want to invite you to come hang out with us on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends and celebrate somebody in your orbit who you might like to celebrate on the morning show over on the LinkedIn platform. So Nation, I invite you to check out Warren Maynard, who's inspiring men to be great husbands, great leaders, great fathers, who's the national director at Impact Players. Warren Maynard, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. All right, there we go, Jimmy, Walter, I appreciate all the work you put into that gamma. We are going to get better at these things, so please don't be discouraged. We're just going to keep working on them and working on how we're going to bring them to life in terms of our presentation on the show. Okay, so here is the plan for the rest of the morning, guys. Boom, boom. We're going to wrap up today's show. We had a great conversation today, and I know we did not get to my topic, my revelatory topic of what I've learned as going through my life from my previous relationship and what I've learned on how to be a better human, a better person today. We're going to get into that tomorrow or Friday. But for right now, we're going to wrap it up because coming back up in 90 minutes, we're back up here at 11 Eastern time. 11 Eastern time, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends, a special 60-minute show with the ever-present, the infamous, the greatest actor from The Office, John Krasinski. I didn't say John Krasinski. I said John Krasinski. So coming up 11 o'clock Eastern time, John and myself are going to do a year in review right here on LinkedIn. A 2024 year in review. Johnny's got a lot of fun topics we're going to put on the table, and we're going to talk about it here live at 11 o'clock Eastern time, right here on LinkedIn, right here on YouTube, across all the platforms for a special extended edition of Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. So we'll see you guys back here in 90 minutes. Clody, what are you doing? Come back and hang out with us. Fontana, come back and hang out with us. And for all of you guys that aren't here yet, we'll see you guys in 90 minutes. Jimmy, Walter, let's rock and roll. Let's get out of here. Let's get back to, let's get post-production going so we can be back in 90 minutes. All right, Nation, you guys have a good one. Have a great day. Stay warm if you're here in Canada. And remember, live your life, the one that you want, not the life you think that somebody else wants. That is the key. And hey, one last thing. If you're sitting too long today, you're going to die. Yeah, true story. And if you're sitting too long today, you're going to get dementia. Get your ass up, get moving. Hey, they recommend 150 minutes a week. Really? You can do 150 minutes today. Get up, get moving. We'll see you guys tomorrow. No, we'll see you 11 o'clock Eastern time right here. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends.